Hi everyone, my name is Franbel Omilari. Welcome to our channel OCHAREO. Today we have the honor and the pleasure to interview Americo Paez Ocha ILU or obatala that is Oriate in our religion for so many years. That he goes to share with us his experience in the religion, not only about him, about his godchild and also the community in general. Welcome, Meko, to interview. And could you tell us uh, how do you start in the
Thank
religion?
you, Frank and Bendición, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor. Yeah, so I started this was very young. My mom was the one who found the faith, and I was still a kid. And so, back then I would get taken to the drumming, the misas, the rituals. I didn't speak a lot of Spanish back then, so I didn't really know what was going on all the time. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the atmosphere, and but by the time I was about 11 years old, I knew I wanted to be an Oriate. My stepfather at the time was he wanted to be an Oriate, and so it was just natural that I would want to do that as well. I had already been into different types of mythology, and the religion really called me. Then I was initiated by my godmother, Luz Ramos, Odomigua, and Miriam Lasus, Obalati. I was initiated into Obatala in 1996. And I would ask my godmother, can I study with this one? Can I study with that one? And my godmother said, have patience, have patience. I'm going to find you a good teacher. I wasn't very patient, but I was obedient, so I didn't jump the gun. And she eventually found a teacher for me, introduced me to a teacher, an Oriente who she was very involved with at the time, and became my teacher. And I studied for multiple years until I was given the ability to sit on the mat by myself, to shave if I was given the blade, and that's how I started.
Wow, that's nice. Because you might, she has crown Ocha. She has crown Ocha.
My mom, yes, my mom has Ochun as well.
How do you feel at that time that you were a child, to be in the middle of that event?
I was very excited. It's something I really, really wanted. Um, uh, I was happy to finally get there, and I was just excited. I had been a member of my Ocha house for a very long time, and so all the people who were participating were people who I had known for many years, and I was just very happy to have been able to do it. I was pretty young, so the thing I was worried about most was, at that age, you're very self conscious of what your friends say. So you're worried about going out in the streets wearing whites, but it was a sacrifice I was more than happy to make.
Okay. How was the spiritual work at that time? The masses, how it works at that time in general.
So the spiritual work, to be honest, it hasn't changed much. The actual work, the opening prayers are the same. Um, like I said, when I was a lot younger, my Spanish wasn't great, so I didn't really catch everything.
Mhm.
Um, but I think they were a lot longer. They felt a lot longer back then. Like the visas lasted a very long time. I feel that they were more intense back then, and it could just be the age that I was experiencing it. But it did feel a little bit more intense. There were some other aspects that were not always great. Everything's not perfect, and sometimes I felt that back then, sometimes people would use the opportunity to take out grievances that they had in their personal lives, and they would take that opportunity. I see a lot less of that now. But back then, I saw more intense people communicating with the spirit. I think now we're, I don't know, we're so much more reserved. We're afraid to let go nowadays, but that could just be my own perception.
Okay, yeah, because according to my knowledge at that time in New York, um, they have a lot of houses that were just for the spirits to improve people spiritually and help them. That now we don't have this in New York.
Yeah, so I've heard about them. I never got to experience it, but I think they were called los centros espiritual.
Centros,
And
yes.
yes, I've heard of it. I did not get to experience it. Luckily, my godmother and several friends, even godchildren, uh, even before they came here, they were part of the Puerto Rican spiritualist tradition back there. And then when they came here, they sort of adopted the Cuban way of doing it. But they had been doing it even before. But I never got to experience the centro myself.
Why you got possessed with obatala?
No, not yet. Well, Batala has not decided that it's for me yet. So when he does, I'll be as surprised as you.
Okay. Um, you got child. How do you educate them in the religion?
Ah, thank you for asking that question. That's a great question because the way I educate my godchildren is very different from the way I learned it. Um, I came into the religion during the time when you learned, the three basic rules of learning. Mire, oye, y calla. You observe, you listen, and you shut up. Um, but in addition to me being an Orisha person, I grew up in New York, and so I'm just used to a standard classroom setting. And so, me as a godparent, as an educator, I felt very comfortable, including class-like instructions to God kids. Another factor of it is that I also have a regular, 9 to 5 job, and so I really don't have the luxury of performing rituals every single weekend. Um, Back when I was younger, I wasn't working, so it was easy to be at rituals every weekend, sometimes even during the week. But now, since I'm not having rituals every weekend, I don't want to deny my godchildren the opportunity to learn. So I've used Zoom. Before I had Zoom, I had a whiteboard or chalkboard, handouts, PowerPoint presentations. Maybe like 6, 7 years ago, I even started a YouTube channel. I'm not very active on it, but I've found many ways to educate my kids, and a lot of them have come along.
You first count who was Obatala or Yemaya?
My very first godchild, child of Yemaya, Tony.
Wow.
Yes, Yemaya was blessed me with my first, and a number of more. I think I've done more Yemaya than anything. Yeah,
How do you feel at that moment?
it was a moment of great pride and great happiness, some sadness, uh, but it was wonderful. The person I crowned, I had known him for several years. It wasn't someone who I you know didn't have a friendship with, so it was good to be able to crown somebody who I cared for. Um, it was nice. There was someone who himself had been very dedicated to Alicia for years, and he deserved it. It was nice to uh, have been able to work with an Oba that I respected very much, Difunto Orlando Ramo, and also
Oh,
a
yeah.
Difunto Rafael Canlaoche. He wasn't an Oba, but he was there with me, so it was an honor to do that. And so on that I felt wonderful. I felt nervous. I that needless to say, but I felt wonderful.
Okay. And now, in when you got children, any of them have been working with you like a Yubon or a Yubona?
All my godchildren are, for the most part, the ones that live close enough. Knock on wood, the majority of them are very active participants in the house. And so whenever anything's going on, they're there right next to me, helping me with everything. The last couple of years, I've been telling them, uh, I've been actually letting them do different parts of the ritual, and I've just been sitting back, observing, making minor corrections, helping them get better at it. My goal is to sit back and watch. As far as Ojubunyando, no, because I actually don't count a lot of people. My wife is the one who is like you say, paridora. I
Mhm.
prefer the Oriate role to the giving birth role. So I don't actually have that many godparents. At
And
least not
then,
as a godfather. I have more as a Gubun.
no, it happened most of the time with the Oriateses. We do
Yeah,
when it's something that we have to, but most of the time we prefer to work like Oriate.
yeah, yeah.
But when you work with the community in general, uh, how do you see the change that from the last 10 years when we work uh, in the ocean?
Oh, change. You know what's interesting about lots of changes from different perspectives. Uh, One, there's no escaping that just people have access to a lot more information than they did back then. There's internet, there's books, there's everything. Uh, you know, uh, you know, I think people when I work in Orchard Room, I see a lot more people uh, ready to sing the songs, uh, ready to help. So I'm very encouraged about that. Other than that, I don't see 10 years. I don't that many changes in 10 years, but I do see uh, people being a lot more informed. You don't really see people with 10, 15 years of Ocha being totally ignorant anymore, right? Back then, you could still find people that, unless somebody sat them down and explained things, or unless they were at ceremonies every single weekend, they weren't learning anything. I think that, there's a lot more access to information now, and so that's very encouraging. Um, I think, at least in the New York scene, we also have another dynamic, which I happen to be happy about. Uh, that we have our sister, our parent tradition, the Yoruba, the Ishesha, and we have a lot of people who practice both, or at least have influence from both. And while I don't like it when people try to change the actual ritual when we're practicing it, I do like having access to people who at least are know something about it, and we can discuss things and have cultural exchange on that level. So that's something that maybe 10 years ago you didn't have as many people able to do so.
Meco, have you been in Cuba?
I have.
Well,
I went. I initiated in 2013. I made an Ochosi in Cuba, and I received a Sojano in Arara. Yes,
okay.
in 2013, I
So
believe it was.
it was in Matanzas, no?
Matanzas, yes. The Carrido, the Eguados.
Oh, okay. And how do you feel over there working with people? Do you learn something? It was a surprise for you about any ceremony in particular or the songs?
Yeah, so the entire experience was beautiful. It was to me, it was my first religious pilgrimage, right? Some people travel to other countries, right, like Mecca and Israel for their religious pilgrimage. That was one of mine. uh, that I hope that I hope to do, and I hope to do again. Because it was Matanzas, I knew in advance that there would be slight differences in the ritual. Um, a couple, how much I can say uh, here, but for example, the way they present the yawo, very different from here to the yanya. They presented the Yawos while they were still under the throne. It was a very lovely experience to see the way that was done. I got to see the fundamento, the Yonufo of the Arara. We played. uh, to Babalu for that. I got to see La Casa de Fermina. That's always a treat. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, so many beautiful things, and the people. The most beautiful thing was the people. Um, Such a religious crowd. Everybody really intense, really focused on what they do. Everybody knew the songs. So just a quick story. They gave me the honor. I didn't think I was going to get the opportunity. I wasn't expecting it, but they let me lead some of the ritual while I was there. So I could say that yo dirigí una ceremonia in Cuba, right?
Yeah.
It was a big honor for me. I wasn't expecting it, but they let me go. And so we're singing Osai, and there's a part where you have to add water to the basin. And I'm used to having new people here that need instruction. So I'm just used to saying, "Hey, water." And they stopped and says, "You don't have to do that here. Everybody knows what to do." And it's true. Everybody did. It was such a beautiful experience. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to going back.
Yeah, because over there is part of the culture, and every day you see them working in one or another ceremony. So it's true. You don't have to, to sing or tell them change the water or anything like that. But
Yes.
I know, but here is different. But you are teaching, and people usually do that. So even though they know, we do like like in every single ceremony, something that we are accustomed to doing. Something in Mexico. What do you think about the the botanicas? Now we have, because before I remember when I got here in 2000, we had the Congo Real, we had the other one in Manhattan,
I'm not saying Chango.
Marseille Chango. Now we have less botanica, in my opinion, less help to work here. Um, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it's true. And so, unfortunately for me, Congo had closed very shortly after I was initiated. So I didn't get to frequent that botanica very long as a priest, as an initiate. Um, I went there plenty of times as an Aleyo, but not as an initiate. Same with my son Chango. It wasn't that many years after I was initiated that they closed down. But yeah, so I missed that. I heard the stories and of what it was like in the past. I remember going into Congo Real and I forget her name, but she was blessing people, clients right there, right at the counter. So these people were active priests with
Emilia,
knowledge.
yeah,
Amelia,
yeah,
yes.
Emilia, obatala.
Yeah, so these were active priests tending to people, tending to the community. You ask them questions, they answer you with knowledge and wisdom, and you, and as far as getting plants, even back then when I was initiated, we always, even back then, it was always preferable to get it from Florida for the big initiations because it's a tropical climate as opposed to a botanica. But there's still a few. There's still a couple out now that we can depend on reliably, and we're lucky to have them. One in Manhattan, one in Brooklyn that I know of, one in Queens. So not the
Okay.
same, but it fulfills the need. And I think also the internet. The internet, you can get things from anywhere now, and so I think um, just people are having the comfort of being able to get things from their home. Like sometimes when I need to go to Botanica in Jersey, sometimes I think about sitting in traffic, and I think twice.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Um, about Adimuses and Aladimuses to Richard, what do you recommend for the community?
Oh, oh, that's a great question. My recommendation is once you receive any Orisha, even if it's just warriors, not just warriors, warriors of the day, learn how to cook with your hands. Learn how to turn the stove on and make things that the Orishas like with your hands. and you will see the miracles and the real presence of Orisha in your life. Not just because what the Orisha can give to you, right? I think that's only one small part of what Orisha is. It is the closeness that you create, that proximity, that spiritual proximity that you create with Orisha when you prepare what we call adimu, for yes, you can buy a lot of these things in the store, uh, but learning how to cook them, I'll be honest with you, it's such a spiritual experience, and you don't need anyone, you don't need anybody to do it for you. If you have the Orisha in your home already, you don't have to call someone like me in Oriate to make that offering for you. You can do it yourself, right? And it's very, very. I think that's one of the gateways to higher spirituality.
Do you have at the move that you present for obatala, that is you got the angel, that you recommend to the youngers that they can do that is something easy?
If I'm going to keep with the theme of cooking and fairly easy, I'm going to say uh, porgy fish, roasted with cacao and cascarilla and onions, no salt. That's one of my favorites. How do you say porgy in Spanish? I forgot. Yeah, but wanabana, that's not something you cook, but that's a very nice offering. I
Yeah.
also recommend for batala making the merengues by hand. If you live in a Latino neighborhood, you can buy them at the store. But if you really, really, really want proximity to a batala, one of my recommendations would be you learn to make it by hand. You make it in silence, right? No talking. Put your phone in a different room. You don't speak while you're doing it, and presenting it to a batala is not the only time that you're praying. You're praying the entire time that you're making it. Don't use an electric beater. Use your hand. Use the whisk. Um, slow, make it and present it. Even if it comes for me, even after all these years, for me, they still come out ugly. They do not come out pretty when I make them, but I know that it's quality time that you can spend with a batala. Same with the
Um,
yam.
the yam, yes.
Yes, another easy one. Peel yam, you dice it, you boil it, and you mash it. Wait for it to cool down, and you make it into a tower. That's another one. But my recommendation would be, again, if you're doing it for batala, do it in silence. You're not talking, you're not chatting, you're not keeping up with the latest things in the neighborhood. That's your time with a
Do you
batala.
have any message for anyone in particular that you want to send a message for you got kids or people in the community in general?
Yeah, just my main message, I guess, would be practice this faith, practice this religion with intent on bettering yourself as a person, being kind to others. Okay, and then and then the information and the songs and the ritual. Yeah, that's part of it too. But if we're not acting like children of Olofu, if we're not acting like children of Oricha, if we're not acting like children of Egun, we're really wasting our time. Let's be great people to one another. Let's not be hypocrites or traicioneros, like Osa says. Let's be good people. Let's be good brothers and sisters. And when we are going to practice and we are going to learn, let's dedicate ourselves to learning. Let's go the extra step. If I'm not good at singing Osain, let me get a little better at singing Osain. If I can't sing to Ochun that well, let me learn a couple more songs to Ochun. Improve yourself every day. Step by step we make a journey.
That's it.
That's a yoga. And have patience and have respect for the elders, even if you don't agree with them. Respect. And that's it. Basic standard.
Yeah. In Ita, what is your recommendation about Ita for the
Oh,
community in general? Because this is something important for us.
yes. My recommendation for Ita. So here's an interesting thing. When I first started studying, when I was the first a student, the rule was back then, anybody who participated in the initiation had the right to be at the Ida, right? And that is where you truly learn, right? Because look, let's be honest, learning how to sing Osain, learning how to sing the Oro to the Orishas, at least, is a lot easier than Ita. But at least for me. For me, Ita was the most challenging part. Odung is the most challenging part. And from my experience, this religion is truly learned at a deeper level during Ita. My recommendation to the godparents, please uh, don't tell people the people who work the Ocha, don't tell them they can't come to Ita. Invite them, welcome them, let them be witnesses, let them be participants, right? Because that is how we build a truly strong foundation of brothers and sisters. When let them gain knowledge too, right? We can't do it all by books. We can't do it all by my YouTube channels. Some of this has to be done in real time, and if you give them the opportunity, we'll all be better off for it. If you can make it to the, I know it does happen on Mondays, and most of us are working on Mondays. That makes it extra hard. But if it's possible, go for it.
Thank you, everyone, to watch this interview with Meko, Oba, Oriate, and Obatala. Leave your comment below. Here you have our phone number. You need any tutorial in the religion. Subscribe to the channel to receive notification about new videos. Health, faith, and prosperity. That is all. Oh,